What's going on, everybody? Andrew Edwards here, coming to you from WWDC 2023. I just finished taking a look at Apple's brand new Vision Pro AR headset. I've got some thoughts, I've got some observations that I wanted to share. Starting with the home screen. So the first time you put the headset on, you hit the digital crown, you press it down, and you go through an eye measurement. This is how the sensors are going to determine where your eyes look, specifically when you're looking at points of interest inside your field of view. After that's done, another press will bring up the home screen, which is your view of the different apps that you can use. And this is where you see the eye tracking start to work, because as you look at the different app icons, you'll see them kind of jump forward depending on which one you look at, almost similar to scrolling through the app icons in tvOS. And anything you're looking at that you want to select, you just pinch your thumb and forefinger together, boom, look at something, boom, selected. You want to drag something, you just pinch and then just move it around in space. You can push it backwards, you can make it bigger, all just with a simple two-finger gesture. The first app that I jumped into was the Photos app. So you go into the app, and then when you select a photo, it'll actually come to the forefront and dim the room behind you. So it's almost like someone lowered the lights in the room so you can really focus on the images. And you can start to swipe through them, take a look at them, make them bigger. And then if you go into a panoramic photo and make it full size, it'll actually surround the entire view that you have. So it'll give you a 180-degree view of this image. And you can actually like stand up and like peer over and see into the photo and reveal things that you can't see when you're standing back, which is very interesting. So all those panorama photos that you've ever taken that you can't really see on your phone because the screen is so small, or even on your Mac because it's so thin, this makes it perfect to view. It almost puts you back in the scene where you took that picture. Then there is spatial photos, and these are a big part of the Vision Pro headset, so much so that there's a dedicated button on the device for taking photos and videos. And there's only two buttons on this. So you've got the digital crown button, which takes you to the home screen, then the other button that captures photos and videos. And so the first thing was a 3D photo of a birthday scene. And when you pull this up, you actually feel like there's some sort of modeled clay figures of people right in front of you. It feels like you can just reach out and interact with them. And then when you move over to the video portion, it puts you right in the scene. So it seems like you can speak to these people because you can hear them, they should be able to hear you. Obviously they can't, but it's kind of uncanny and maybe even a little dystopian to some people, the way that you can capture a moment that makes it seem like you are literally back there standing in that same moment that you captured previously. Then I went on to multitasking. So I had my Photos app open and I opened up Messages. And again, same thing. The only thing you need to use to open up these apps is to look at an app icon and pinch with your two fingers. So I opened up Messages, I moved Photos away from the center of my view, I grabbed it and put it basically on the ceiling, made it a little bigger, brought Messages into my right-hand side and the Safari to my left. And even though Photos is in the background, I could still, if I looked at anything that was selectable, I could still select it and interact with Photos without bringing it to the forefront of my view like you might have to do on something like a Mac or even on the iPhone. And remember, this device has an M2 chip in it, the same chip you'd find in the currently shipping MacBook Air. So you've got a lot of power. It has the power of a computer on your face. And so running all these apps simultaneously was no big deal. Then I went into the environment. So you go into the environments area and there's a whole bunch of different options you can select. I chose Mount Hood, and as soon as I did that, what is Mount Hood?
We're in the hood. We're in the hood, big dog.
We were in Mount Hood. So yeah, so I chose Mount Hood, and instantly the room I was in disappeared, and instead I saw a mountain in the background, a lake in front of me, some sort of, I don't remember, I think there was some grass or something, but basically it was a night sky and I was transported into Mount Hood. Now I could use the digital crown on my top right to fully immerse myself and basically choose how immersive I wanted it to be. Did I just want it to be 180 degrees so I can turn to my side and still see the room I was in, or did I want it to just completely enclose me so that no matter where I looked, I was inside of that environment? This is where I also experienced breakthrough. Breakthrough is when you're in an environment and someone in the room, same room as you, comes to speak to you or talk to you. So the cameras inside of the Vision Pro recognized I was looking at a person, and that person kind of slowly faded in to my view so I can actually see them and have a conversation with them. I can see them, I can hear them, they can hear me, obviously. We can have a conversation, and then I can turn away from them and they would slowly fade away and I'd be back in this Mount Hood environment. Then it was time for mindfulness and meditation. So I went into the mindfulness app. This was kind of strange. So I was sitting there on the couch, and a ball that seemed to be made of digital leaves was floating in front of me, an orb was floating in front of me, and I heard a voice kind of walking me through a meditation, and all of a sudden the orb starts contracting and expanding like it was breathing, and then on one last breath it kind of opened up, and then the room went dark, and I was just flooded with these multicolored neon leaves coming at me as I was breathing, as I was meditating. That sounds kind of intense, but it wasn't intense. It was actually very calming. It did its job. But yeah, 1 minute mindfulness break before we went into the next demo, FaceTime. And this one was kind of strange to me. Now, keep in mind, we're currently in June 2023, and Apple says the Vision Pro is not going to ship until early 2024. So I'm guessing that's about 8 or 9 months from now. So there's still time to work out things that don't feel quite right. The Vision Pro can map your face and create a persona, a digital persona of you, and then it'll use the sensors built in to kind of see how your mouth is moving and how your eyes are moving to make your persona look like you when you're in a FaceTime call while using the headset. The thing is, you can kind of tell that the eyes move and the mouth moves, but the rest of the face doesn't really have the same natural human movement, so you're in the kind of uncanny valley area when on a FaceTime call with someone who's using the headset. The facial expressions need to be improved. I actually thought we were going to be using emojis for FaceTime calls. Then you kind of get rid of that effect as well, and maybe a little more fun, but I get what they're going for, some realism. It's just not enough realism, so it's kind of strange. But besides that, yes, spatial audio built in, so I was actually doing a FaceTime call with someone right in front of me, and I dragged them off to the side because we were gonna do some collaborating in the free format. So I dragged them off to the side so I can hear them in the room on my left, upper left, as we were collaborating on this freeform board. It was a 3D board of a home, and you can actually get up and look inside, almost like you're looking in a dollhouse, and see all the different pieces on this board. It was very cool. Then we jumped into the entertainment portion of the demo. This was one of my favorites. So the first thing I did was I went into the Apple TV Plus app and I pulled up Avatar in 3D, and I created essentially about an 80 or 90 inch TV display right in front of me. I was watching Avatar in 3D in 4K with HDR. It looked fantastic and it sounded amazing. The headphones I was using, by the way, actually I wasn't using any headphones. I was using the built-in audio from the headset, and it was 3D audio, fantastic. I didn't need to put on AirPods or anything to do this. Avatar looked great in 3D. The HDR looked amazing. And then we went from the living room environment into the movie theater cinema environment. So all of a sudden I had a 100-foot display in front of me where I could watch Avatar again in 3D. It was super cool. From there I took a look at Apple's immersive video format. It's a new format where they record 180-degree video in 3D, and it puts you right in the action. So I had Alicia Keys. I was in a hotel room where Alicia Keys was doing a jam session with her musicians, her band, and she was just singing. I was just there in the room with them listening to the jam session. Then I was on the top of a mountain while someone was trying to go across a tightrope, which was thrilling. Then I was in a herd, a collection of baby rhinos. I was just in there with them, baby rhinos coming to check me out. Then all of a sudden I'm underwater with a bunch of sharks around. So it's just a demo kind of showing how you can use immersive video in 3D to truly immerse you. Because again, Avatar was just a video screen in front of me, and then these were videos that I was actually feeling like I was inside of. Then there was a grand finale. So they said there was one more experience. You're going to sit back, relax. Again, there is a depth camera. So the Vision Pro headset knows the size of the room that you're in, how far things are from each other, using LiDAR, using the depth sensor. And so the rear wall in the room all of a sudden started opening up and then expanding into a portal. And the portal was to a prehistoric world. A butterfly flew into the room. From that portal, they told me, put your hand out, put your finger out, see if it lands on there. It did. It flew over. It found my hand, landed on my finger. As I moved my hand around, it stayed on my finger before flying off a few seconds later. Then inside that world, I saw a baby dinosaur kind of walking around for a few seconds before something scared it. And then you hear these footsteps coming from behind you and then around. Then you see a T-Rex come into the frame inside the room or inside that portal. Then it looks at you and it pokes its head into the room and then walks in. So now you've got the portal behind you, T-Rex in the room with you, and you can get up, because again, it's AR, you can see the room that you're in, you can get up and walk right up to it, and that's where you determine that there is no screen door effect with the Reality Pro headset. That's something that's been a big complaint from people using VR headsets for many years. The screen door effect is still a thing that kind of takes you out of the realism. But with this, that wasn't there. You've got the micro LED displays that are such high resolution, and those pixels are so small, you can't see them with the naked eye. So when you walk up to the dinosaur, you can basically see the scales on its skin. It also knows that you've walked up to it, so it starts like looking at you and like smelling your hand if you put your hand out. After, I don't know, 10 or 20 seconds, it decided to turn around and go back into the portal, and then the tail just like swings around, and you feel like you need to duck out of the way because you don't want to get hit. Obviously, you're not going to. There's no dinosaur there, but you feel it because everything feels so real. It walked away, the portal closed, and that was the end of my demo. Using Apple's Vision Pro headset was, in my opinion, a game-changing or maybe even life-changing experience. It really feels like getting a glimpse of the future, not just the future of technology, but the future as a whole, the future of living. As Apple said, Vision Pro is going to cost $3,500, $3,499, and it will be launching in early 2024. Obviously very expensive, but once you use it, you understand why it costs so much and where the value lies. One thing I should probably mention, I've been seeing a lot in the comments and discussion online, a lot of people are saying, hey, so expensive, I'm probably just going to stick with the Oculus. That'll be my option, which is totally fine. Obviously, not everyone can afford $3,500 for an entertainment device, but there are some key differences that I think a lot of people aren't understanding. First of which is the Oculus is a VR headset, virtual reality, while Apple's is an augmented reality headset. It takes all the measurements for itself. You don't have to tell it where you are, where your furniture is. It doesn't block you off from the world. So there's a difference, not just in price, but in functionality and usage. The other thing, anytime I use an Oculus headset, a lot of things feel like cartoonish. If that dinosaur walked into the room on my Oculus headset, on the Meta Quest 2, for example, it would have been a very cartoony, wacky looking dinosaur, while this one that the Reality Pro headset gave me looked very realistic and lifelike. So I guess the one way to sum it up is that when you use a Meta Quest headset, it's taking you into a different world, and using Apple's Vision Pro, it's actually bringing new things into your world. I'm super hyped to see this thing drop. I know it's expensive. It really was an enlightening experience, and I hope you get to try it out for yourself. You'll be able to do so in Apple retail stores across the US. Go check it out and see for yourself if you agree with my take. Until next time, I'm Andrew Edwards. I'll catch you in the next video.